Welcome back. So in this video, a viewer asked me on one of the videos, tips for holding connection. How do we keep connection? So in this video, that's what we'll be talking about. So we may have to approach it in a slightly different angle. You know, when we're starting out in mediumship or, you know, years of development, we've got this bit about us that don't quite think it's always there or quite believe it's always there. So we first have to address the understanding that we have with the spirit world. And the first thing that we have to sort of establish is that the spirit world is here now, forever. It's omnipresent. It's all around us every minute of every day. Now, I don't mean that in a kind of spooky way. Like, oh my God, are they watching me do this or are they watching me do that? Energy is everywhere. It's like the air we breathe. We can't see it, but we know it's there. So it's about us all of the time. And when we focus our attention to an area of that energy, that intelligence, the spirit world, it will make itself known in that process. So the simple answer to the viewer's question is, how do I hold the link? Is you just got to believe it. It's not, if at any moment you start to doubt your connection to the spirit world, this very motion will pull you out of gear. So in the mind, where we go to an altered state for communication, we'll pull ourselves out of that gear by fearing any kind of loss of connection, or I'm losing the energy, what am I going to do? And in that process, you pull the mind out of gear, back very much to the everyday state, everyday consciousness, and therefore the subtlety of mediumship becomes incredibly difficult, because you're now fully focused on, what if I've lost it? I think I've lost it. Oh God, I've lost it. And that's what happens. We'll lose the connection in that process. Has the spirit world gone anywhere? No, they're absolutely there. And all we have to do is focus or refocus the mind and move it back into the altered state. So a simple way to do that is just to sort of take a breath and think about the connection. And the way we do that, or to strengthen that connection, is to go with the hits that we've already had. You know, so you may have said that you have a dad here who is, 60, who is a carpenter and has a respiratory condition, some sort of problem with his breath, and a massive heart attack takes him off to the spirit world. So as we believe that we start to lose the connection, or I'll know the spirit world are going to go, we can recap that. We can just hold on a second, take a breath, and I have a man, he's 60, his dad, he's a carpenter, he dies of a heart attack. And now the spirit world can now move back into that subtle place within the altered connection, and your connection is now re-established. It's like a dropping out of the Wi-Fi, I suppose, isn't it? Move too far away, and you've got to move back, and you get the free bars again, and you're good to go on your social media or the internet or whatever it is. So the tips for holding that is just to maintain this altered state. We just have to keep talking ourselves into it. Over time, this will fade away. You don't need to keep re-establishing the link. You learn after a while that, oh, they're always there. I've got nothing to worry about. But we have to address your fear. We have to address your self-awareness, or your self-worthiness. You can do it. It's always going to be there, and therefore we've got to convince you of that. So the tip for that is just to recap on the hits that you've got, which will make the connection stronger, bring you back to where you originally were, and the reading will continue. After so many times, you're going to start believing this. Let's say you do that for a year. After a year, you're just going to know it's there. You're just going to know, I've just got to move my mind, and I don't need the recap. So the tips are just to address your fears in a simple kind of way. In the same question, it's, what do we do when we're losing that connection and it starts to fade and it starts to get sticky? Charlie, help me. Is there anything you can do? Absolutely, there's something we can always do, and most mediums have a strong point. Some people are heavily reliant on one sense, so that may be heavily clairvoyant, so the seeing aspect, or heavily clairsentient, the feeling aspect. And when you're trying to do something, or the communication takes a little bit of a turn, maybe goes off on a tangent, and you don't have the reference base, or you don't know what they're trying to do, it's all going to start to fade away very quickly, and your insecurities are going to come back, because the thought has happened that, oh no, I'm messing it up, what am I going to do? And as we're doing that, we're coming out of the altered state, and with that, the spirit world seems to be getting further and further away. The simple process there for when it gets sticky or when it starts to fade is go to the strong point. So you just say to the client, just give me a moment, my mind's coming into it, I need to move this communication somewhere else. Go back to the strong point. So if you're good at visuals, go to a visual. If you're good at personality or character, then go back to a personality or character. Even go back to a statement that you've been given before, and then the springboard off of that, and take it in a new direction. This will in turn bring the spirit world closer and move the altered state back to that of the communicator, and your communication can unfold almost flawlessly. Get used to doing this, and the client or the people in circle, your residentials, wherever you're trying to do this work, won't even notice it. It will just become part of your way of communicating, your presentation as such. So hopefully that helps the viewer that asked the question. Hopefully it helps more than just the viewer. Hopefully some of you get some sort of value out of this. If you have, obviously hit that thumbs up, because that helps the channel. Get in the comments if you've got any questions, related or unrelated. I've got no problem. I think you're starting to get the gist that if I can do a video for you, I will do it. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you lot in the next video.